Hey everybody, this is Mike with the One Stop Co-op Shop, and today I'm doing a solo playthrough and review of Wingspan Pocket, and disclaimer that I got a review copy of this one. And if you like the content on the One Stop Co-op Shop, consider supporting us through Patreon. You get early access to our videos and exclusive videos every month you can't see anywhere else. You can also listen to our weekly podcast for reviews and design discussions, or join the conversation and say hi on our Discord. So as you can imagine from the name Wingspan Pocket, this is a smaller, quicker version of Wingspan. It still plays up to 5 players. It still has an automa that works really well, and I've been having a lot of fun with it. So let's jump in, show you what's new about this one, what's going on. So first of all, you have the offer over here. Every single bird card now has food on the back, so the cards will act as both your food and the birds you can play. And after dealing cards to the players, you divide the deck into 4 somewhat equal piles, and you have 1 card in front of each pile. So you can see the food that's on top of the deck, and you can see the birds that are down here. The birds are pretty standard Wingspan stuff. So you've got the cost in the upper left. In the case of this, what is it, a Gallic? They've got a 1 egg and 2 wheat cost. You got a picture of the bird. Its victory point value is that number on the left next to the feather. The number of eggs it can hold, 1 for this bird, and its wingspan, 75 centimeters, which does matter for some goals. You've got a description of the bird, and at the bottom you've got its power. And in this version of Wingspan, basically every power is a brown power that you get to resolve on every single one of your turns. You basically are running the exact same engine over and over again. There are a few birds in here, here's an example, that have a green power. That's an ongoing power, generally to make it easier to play other birds. But besides that, it's all brown powers all the time. You also, whether you're playing in advanced competitive mode or in the solo mode, use 2 goals in the game, and these are going to make eggs worth more on certain birds. So the 2 that I've chosen for my game, or not chosen, randomly dealt, are that eggs on birds with their beak pointing left are worth +1 victory point, and eggs on birds that have at least 1 card tucked behind them are worth +1 victory point. And if I get a bird that has all of those things going on, then their eggs will be worth +2 points, and eggs are always worth 1 point on their own, so they'll be worth +3. There are a ton of those goals, and each of them is double-sided, so even more variety. Although in solo mode, there are 2 cards that you do not use, so you have to redraw if you get those. Then we've got each player's starting area. So every player has a nest, which is both going to identify the starting point of your row, and you'll have this little feather to kind of keep track of your powers as you activate them, but it can also hold some eggs itself, up to 3. And it shows the 3 options you can take on your turn. We'll get to that in a second. And then you've got your reserve, which is going to be a mix of food and bird cards. You're going to start with 2 birds and 4 food. When you're playing at the advanced level or in solo, you get to pick which of your starting 6 cards you want to be birds and which 4 you want to be food. But as I actually play birds, they'll go over here into my row. And like it says here, starting here, activate brown powers. You get to do your nest power, which is really just taking your regular turn, and then activate every single other bird that you want to. And once 6 birds have been played, the game ends after all players have had an equal number of turns. So I'm going to randomize who starts the game. If the automa starts, then I'll have the final turn. If I start, the automa will have the final turn. But again, 6 birds triggers that ending. And the automas over here, they also have a nest, and we each start with 1 egg on our nest. That's important because a lot of birds require an egg to be played. They'll also be collecting cards, but only food cards, which will determine when they can play a bird, so I can kind of see how likely they are to put down another one. And the type of food does not matter. They're just tracking how much food they have. But all their actual bird plays will come from the supply. They never have any birds in their hand. And their decisions and actions are controlled by automa cards. And you can modify the difficulty. You can take out cards 7 and 8 if you're playing at beginner level. There are 8 cards total. And you can also, to make the game harder, sub in 1 to 3 of these hard mode cards for the original cards. In this case, I'm playing at almost the hardest difficulty, because in my last game, I definitely beat the bot pretty badly, but now it might go the exact opposite way for this playthrough. But yeah, so I took out the regular 1 and 2 automa card and subbed in the hard version of each, which basically is going to get them more food more quickly so they can play birds faster and to speed up the pace of the game. I could have also added in the number 3 hard card, but I didn't want to go that crazy. And you do take 1 random card from the bot's deck and put it to the side, so it will not be used for this go-through. They just flip 1 card and do the actions on it. And when they go through all 7 of their cards, they'll take that 1 set-aside card back, shuffle things up, move another card to the side, and keep on going. As for me, the primary actions available on my turn are to play a bird. So if I can pay the cost of a bird in my reserve with food from my reserve, I can play the card down. Or I can draw 2 cards, and it says any 2 cards. That can be a mix of birds or food. And you can pick the same pile. So like if I grab this fish and then, ooh, I want that berry or worm, then I could do that. But the birds underneath the piles do not get filled in until the end of your turn. So your options will slowly diminish as you're drawing those kind of cards. Then my final option is to lay up to 3 eggs on different cards. That can include my nest. So that's not very useful until you have at least a couple birds out to take those eggs. All right, so let's look at my bird options to start and see who's interesting to me. So remember, for the goals, birds with their beaks pointing left are worth extra. So that's actually all 4 of these birds. Their beak is pointing to the left, but not the Eurasian kestrel and not the laughing kookaburra. And the other goal is to have birds with cards tucked behind them. In this case, only the Eurasian kestrel has that. They will have a chance every round to potentially get a card tucked underneath them as they hunt. That's what that symbol is. But remember, those goals are multiplicative of eggs. So little grebe over here, who can hold 3 eggs with his beak pointing left, would be a lot more valuable to me than the Atlantic puffin, who can only hold 1 egg and has his beak pointing left. Also, I like little grebe's power. He lets me discard a food showing a worm or a fish to lay an egg, so I don't have to spend as many actions laying eggs that way. Now, I do see a natural synergy between little grebe and the magnificent frigate bird, who can let me get a fish or a worm for free. So between the 2 of those, I could theoretically, as long as a fish or worm is available in the market, get infinite egg laying. Now, the frigate bird can only hold 1 egg, so it's not amazing, but they're worth 4 and 5 victory points, so that's pretty good. Now, I do need a lot of the same food. So question is, yeah, okay, not too bad. I was wondering if I have the other people be my food. Fish, worm. So at the very least, I could play little grebe pretty much right away. Although the frigate bird is kind of the one I'd rather play earlier, but maybe I can, for my first turn, draw some cards and try to get the worm that I'm missing. Okay, so I'm not going to look at the other 4 to keep things moving. I'll go ahead and flip these guys over. I like to kind of stack my food cards to save space. All right, that's my starting setup. And I'm supposed to randomize who goes first between me and the bot. I should say, I'll say that I'm 4, 5, 6, and they're 1, 2, 3. Okay, so the bot will go first. And I'm going to mark them with the first player card so that I remember that I will take the final turn in the game. So if I play my 6th bird, the game will end immediately. If they play their 6th bird, I get a chance to respond. All right, and with all the setup and explanation out of the way, let's actually get into the play. So here we go, starting the playthrough with the bot's first turn. So all I do is I flip over the top card of the Automa deck, and this is one of the hard mode cards, so they're doing a lot. So first I do the top section. It shows me specific food cards they're going to grab, and specific birds they're going to tuck under their nest, which will be worth 1 victory point each. In this case, they're grabbing these 2 food. Again, they don't care about the type, and they are tucking the turquoise-browed Motmut. Okay, next they check if they are able to play a bird this turn. The number next to that 2 step, which is a 4, shows how much food they would have to pay to play a bird this turn. The X on the egg shows they would also have to discard an egg from their leftmost card, in this case their nest. Although if they don't have any eggs, they can still play the bird. And the rest is all about what priority they take for playing the bird. In this case, none of it applies because they only have 2 food. And the final step of their turn is to get a certain number of eggs, sometimes 0, sometimes 1, sometimes 2. And they always prefer to put eggs on the rightmost cards that can take them, and they can put more than 1 egg on the same card, which is not the same as a player's turn. So in this case, with a 2, they have fully filled up their nest. Eggs on their nest are worth 3 points at the end of the game, kind of like they had fulfilled both goals, but they'll tend to go away because every time they play a bird, again, they are pulling from the leftmost card, so usually from their nest. All right, that's the first Automa turn. Coming in to my first turn. So again, I do have what it takes to play Little Grebe, but I would not have, well, I guess I would have a fish to take advantage of his power. Yeah, actually, I was going to wait to play him, but I think I will go ahead and play him first. All right, so his cost is 1 egg, 1 fish, and 1 worm, invertebrate. I forget what the actual names of the foods are. Oh, here it is. Invertebrate, seed, fish, fruit, rodent. Cool. All right, so these go to a discard pile. They will be shuffled back in if an entire pile runs out, so there's always 4 piles. And he gets played in here, and that was this activation, so now I get to activate him, and I can, if I would like, discard a fish or an invertebrate. I will, to place an egg. Hey, let's place it on him, because if I don't use it, which would of course not happen, but if I don't use it by the end of the game, then it'll be worth 1 point as an egg, and 1 more point because his beak is pointing left. All right, back to the Automa. Ooh, another strong card. 7 and 8 are stronger because you leave them out in an easier game. So they're getting 2 food from those rightmost piles. Then they're spending 3 food, doesn't matter which ones, and an egg to play a bird. And this symbol means they look for the bird that best fits the goals. And then the egg symbol means that if there are multiple birds that are tied for how many goals they match, they take the one that can lay the most eggs. And then they have a final tiebreaker, in this case, the leftmost card. So we've got 3 birds whose beaks are pointing left. And we've got 2 birds who can tuck a card. Any symbol that shows a card going... Actually, we've got 3 birds who can tuck a card, but these 2 birds match both goals. And then next, they want the one with the most eggs, which is the barn swallow. If they both had the same eggs, it would have gone for the leftmost one. So they are playing the barn swallow, which is pretty darn good for them because they can hold 2 eggs and they match both of the goals. And then finally, they're putting a single egg out on their rightmost card. So they won't ever spend eggs from the barn swallow unless they run out of eggs on their nest, because they spend from the left, they place on the right. All right, getting to my turn, I think it should be a draw turn. The mallard is pointing to the left, so is the crested oranpendola, and that one also has a tuck, so it could fit both goals, but it is only a single egg, so the most I can get from this would be 3 points for itself, and 3 points from matching both goals if I put an egg on it. But its power is pretty nice. I get to take any food card I want every turn, but then I would also have to tuck a bird card from my reserve behind this bird to make it worth 1 point, which... if I'm understanding the rules correctly, I have to do both of these or neither, so I don't think I can get a free food and then not tuck a bird. Although if I can also play the mallard, that would let me get birds consistently. Yeah, so I should probably get the mallard first. Okay, so I'll get him, and I need a worm and a wheat. I don't have either of those things right now. So since there's 2 worms, let's get the wheat first to make sure I'm not locked out of that. And I haven't shown this before, but you do refill at the end of your turn. All right, coming back. Another good card, man. I was hoping their nastiest cards would be in the discarded card. So they get 2 cards, and they tuck another bird, and then they do have 3 food and an egg, and they're trying to get the bird that best fits again. And yep, they got a guy who's looking left and can tuck, so there we go. And they get an egg on him immediately. Wow, the Automa is definitely Russian. Maybe I shouldn't have played on such a hard difficulty. All right, back to me. So I want to play the mallard, which needs a worm. I might also want to grab a bird that otherwise the Automa will play. The common bulbul is looking left and can tuck, so it would be worth double, and it has 2 eggs. Yeah, so I don't want them to get that. So I'll take this for 1 and this for 2. And once again, little grebe is doing nothing. All right, Automa, slow down, please. Okay, so they're getting 1 food and 1 bird tuck. They definitely don't have 3 to play, and they put a second egg on that guy. So all of their goal birds are full. All right, so let's go ahead and get our mallard in play. So that's 1 egg and a wheat and a worm. And it's probably obvious, but cards like this are either or, so I can't use this to pay both costs for that bird. Okay, then I don't have a fish or a invertebrate, and I get to get a bird card with egg limits 2 or more, of which there are a couple. They're looking left, they tuck, so which one do I actually want? Oh, that one would let me get a free food. I'm not sure if I'll actually pay them or play them. That one's worth more points. The Automa birds, by the way, are always worth 3 points. So you don't have to try to poach birds that are worth more. You just want to kind of look out for the goals. So I'll grab this guy. Get back to the Automa. Oop, they're getting 2 food. And then, geez, they have enough to play another bird. They are killing me, y'all. All right, so they want the one that best fits the goals. Tuck, tuck, left, left. Okay, so everybody fits the goals. So now they're looking for most eggs, which is equal. And this time it's rightmost. So they're getting that Indian peafowl. They're adding 2 eggs to him. Man. Yeah, this is nasty. Okay, once again, I just need some food. If I can get a worm, I can play either of them. Still have not been able to get close to playing this guy. So yeah, let's get a worm. So I'll get that. And then, I guess I'll get one of the fish, because I can use a little grebe's power, and also it can just break up the monotony of having so many of the same thing going on. And then, yeah, I guess I will get an egg. Gotta have something going on here. All their eggs are going to be worth 2. And then I can get a bird with an egg limit of 2+. Only option for that is the snowy owl. But now if I can play the common bulbul, I can get a bird for free and then use that bird to get any resource for free. I think my engine's going to be too slow, but at least it's something. All right, back to the Automa. Okay, a somewhat normal card. That's good. So they have a single food, and they're tucking this guy for a point. They definitely can't play anybody, and the only thing that has room for an egg is their nest. All right, coming around to me as planned. Let's go ahead and play the common bull for both my food. Clearly, little grebe won't be able to do anything. The mallard lets me grab somebody with a 2-egg limit. There is one, the great kiskadee. And then I can tuck somebody under here. Oh, this is a tuck. And did I know that when I got that guy? That he was a tuck and looking left? That's great. So who do I definitely not want to play? I mean, the snowy owl is worth a lot of points, so he could be my final play. The red-headed barbet does have a tuck. This guy has a looking left. He's also worth a lot of points, would get me some victory points and also the ability to use a little grebe. Yeah, I think Great Kiskadee seems maybe the least interesting. All right, so I tuck him, and then I get to take any food I want, which looks like it should probably be a worm. Either it'll use little grebe's power or to get these guys played. And there are indeed some worms available. Cool. All right, back to the bot. Their last card is getting them 2 food. Then they are playing another bird. Slow down, dude. So that's from their nest. And looking left, tuck. Dang it. Okay, so they got this. And geez, they're putting out 2 eggs. Yeah, I mean, they're destroying me here, but so it goes sometimes. And now that they have exhausted their deck, I take the 1 card that was put aside, which was definitely a super easy card because I didn't see any other ones. I shuffle these up, and I put another one off to the side. All right, that was the first go through for the bot, maybe about halfway through the game, although probably not. The bot is at 4 birds instead of 3. But let's see if I can catch up a little bit. So, dang it. I could lay eggs, but I want to get more stuff going on and more powers activating, so I need to get more food. So let's do card draw. The bot's not close to playing anything, because I would get this common ring plover. Actually, I'll get him for free because he has 2 eggs, because he's got 2 eggs, and he's looking left, and he can tuck cards, so he's pretty dangerous if I leave him alone. Don't want the bot to get him. So what food should I get? The easiest bird to play, although he's not worth very much, is the red-headed barbet. He's looking to the right, but he does tuck. He can hold 2 eggs. The snowy owl will be a lot harder. All I need to get for the barbet is a berry. So sure, let's go and get that for the barbet. And then let's get a worm/fish so I can use a little grebe's egg-laying power, I guess. Because, yeah, we'll go ahead and do that with the worm. And this is the only bird who's doing both goals, so I definitely want to get eggs on him whenever possible. Okay, then I get a bird with an egg limit of 2. That was already going to be that guy I talked about. And then I can tuck a bird to get a resource of my choice. Again, who am I not going to play? Honestly, I don't think I'm going to get to this guy. He's just too expensive. So let's go ahead and tuck him. And if I'm about to play this guy, I could be working on him. Oh, yeah, because he can tuck and he's looking left and he has 2 eggs. So that would take 2 more worms. So I'll grab this worm-fish combo. All right, back to the bot. They are grabbing 1 food and tucking 1 bird. And then they would only need 2 food to play one, but luckily they don't have 2 food. They only have 1, so get out of here. And no eggs. Love that card. Okay, back to me. I wanted to play the barbet, right? So that's berry and worm. So there we go. I'm barely keeping up on birds, but I don't have as many eggs as they do, and my birds are all worth like next to nothing. So, man. All right, so now I could throw this away to get an egg, but I really want to play that guy, so I'm not going to. Then I get a bird with 2 eggs. Luckily, this one just came out. Then I can tuck a bird to get a food. I mean, this guy's terrible, so I'll definitely tuck him. And I want to be able to play that guy next turn, so let's get this worm wheat. And then I can either get a berry, of which there are none, or I can tuck any resource. I don't want to do that because I want to kind of rush things a bit and play my 5th card and then maybe do eggs for a little bit. Yeah, so I'm not going to do that. All right, Buddy Bot is getting 1 food again. And then he would need 4 to play, so he can't. He does tuck another person, though, and he does get an egg on, yeah, their nest. Gosh, they have so many eggs. All right, so they're definitely going to play a bird on their turn. So let's go ahead and play a bird on mine. I'll play the common ringed plover. I can't use that power. Oh, I can get the red jungle fowl. They have eggs 2 or more. I can tuck a bird to get a food. I mean, at this point, if I played a bird, it would be like the snowy owl, which would trigger the end of the game, so eggs wouldn't matter. But I'm just tucking birds to get victory points, and I get to take a food. Dang, still no berries. All right, I'll grab this one. Yeah, so I'll go ahead and tuck this. to be worth a point. And then this guy lets me get a resource of any kind or tuck specifically a worm. So there are worms in the offer, so I'll get one of those. And okay. So yeah, I think I'm just going to tuck an egg for a few turns because the bot's going to certainly end things soon. In fact, here's their 5th bird. So they're getting some food. They're spending all 3 and an egg. Oh, and this time they play a specific bird, the 3rd, which is looking left, unfortunately. Oh, but doesn't have any egg capacity, so that was actually pretty great. So they get an egg back. Oh, and it just goes on their nest, which is worth 3, like all the goals being fulfilled anyway, so it didn't really matter much. Okay, for me, I wanted, like I said, do eggs for a few turns, because between all my tucking and all my people being pretty much fulfilling at least one goal, 3 eggs is like 6 points. With the tucking, it's like 8 or 9 points. That's better than I can do in most other ways. So I get to put 3 eggs out. All right, so where's the one guy? So this guy, that guy and that guy are going to be my best if I can tuck a card from him. I don't necessarily want to fill them up if I'm going to take a few egg turns in a row. So let's do 2, 3. Okay, then I could trash this to get another egg. Do I want to do that? Yeah, I guess I do. And I want to leave myself options. So let's put it on this guy who has space for 3 eggs. Okay, then I can get a card with a 2 egg limit. Wow, there's a bunch of them. And literally none of them are looking left or have a tuck power. So I'll just grab that one because at least he's kind of easy to play with the wilds. All right, this guy lets me tuck a bird to get a resource. I mean, yeah, I don't think I'm going to play the snowy owl anymore. So let's do that. And the one bird wants specifically a worm. I guess I'll get this. Ooh, perfect. Because then my red-headed barbet can either let me tuck a card or let me get a berry, and I'm a little bit low on resources, so I'll get the berry. That was this guy's power. And then I can tuck anything. No, it has to be specifically a worm or a fish, but now that guy's tucked, which is also going to activate them triggering for the goal, because it has to be at least 1 card tucked. Okay, cool. So my engine's kind of running now. Is it too little too late? I guess we'll find out. They're getting 2 food, but not playing a bird yet. They would need 3. So they are almost 100% going to end the game or trigger the end of the game. They got 1 more space for eggs on their turn. But they were the first player, so I'll get basically 2 more turns. And yeah, I mean, looking at things, I can fit 5 more eggs on my birds, plus 1 on my nest. So I think this 2 egg turns is going to give me the biggest bang for my buck, and hopefully I can tuck as much as possible. So 3 eggs, I mean, really, I'm just kind of putting things wherever I can fit them. All right, then I don't have that to get another egg. I can get a bird with a 2 egg limit. Once again, there are several options. Once again, none of them are looking left or doing anything the bot would care about. So I'll just grab that random one. All right, then I can tuck a bird to get a resource. Sure. And I want to get a worm to tuck for that guy. Okay, then I can tuck any resource. So I'll tuck this berry. And then I can tuck a worm. All right. And here we go. I imagine this has to be the final turn. Indeed it is. The bot is getting 2 food. Then they're spending 3 of it to get their 6th bird. They do have to use an egg from their nest. And did they get lucky? Nobody's looking left. This guy can tuck, this little penguin. And they're putting 2 eggs out, so they are literally full of eggs. Their nest has 3, and their little penguin they just got has 1. All right, well, that's the end of the turn, or the game for them. That food doesn't count. So let's go and see how many points we can get. So we'll get 1 on the little grebe, 1 on the mallard, and yeah, as I thought, I can only fit 1 on my nest. Okay, can't use little grebe's power. Get a bird with an egg limit of 2, sure. Tuck a bird for any type of food. Sure. I'll get a worm. This one doesn't do any. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter. I can tuck that or that, and that'll be it, because that can get me a resource that I won't need. So there you go. That is the end of the game. We're getting to final scoring. I don't think this is going to go well, but we'll see how close I came. So you flip your nest over, and it has a nice little thing to keep track. You can use 2 eggs as you count your points. That egg is on my nest. So for me, I count the number of points on the birds. So 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. That's terrible. Those are the weeniest birds ever. Then I count every egg as 1 point. So 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. That was nicer. Brings me to 24. Then I get 1 point for every tucked card. Okay, this is going to... You know what? Actually, let's do this after the goal so I can just move the eggs off. So I get +1 for each egg that matches a goal. So this guy's pointing left, so that's 3. This guy's pointing left, so that's 5. This guy's pointing left and has at least 1 card tucked. So that's 7, 9, double counting those. This guy just has cards tucked, so that's 11. And this guy's looking left and has cards tucked, so that's 13, 15 from eggs. Pretty good. Not my best, but pretty good. Gets me to 39. And now I can kick these off and count my number of tucked cards, which is pretty dang good. Let's see. 5 and 10, 12. So that gets me to 51. That's a solid score. It's a solid score. I still think the bot's going to get me, but it's at least going to be close. All right, so now we flip the bot's nest over. We do the same thing. They've got their tucked cards. They've got their 3 eggs on their nest. They're going to get so many points here. So first, they get 3 points per bird, regardless of type. So that is a flat 18. They get 3 points per egg on their nest. That is 9 more. They get 1 point per other egg. 6, 7. They have a lot fewer eggs than I thought. So I might have a chance here. They're already at 34, though. Okay, they will get 1 point per tucked card. Whoops. So that's 8. Okay. I got a chance. I'm at 42. What was my score? 51. Okay. All right, and then 1 point per egg that matches the goal. So this guy is both beak pointing left and he tucked something. But by the way, their cards count as automatically tucking. They don't have to actually tuck anything. So that's 4. Oh no, gets him to 46. This guy's looking left and tucked. It's 2 more, 48. I'm not feeling good. This guy's just looking left. That gets them to 50. This guy's looking left and tucked. Oh no, 52. And this guy's tucked 53. Oh, so close. So I bet if I had used 1 fewer card, not taken out regular number 2 to put in hard number 2, because then they would have gotten fewer food and played birds a little bit slower, then I might have won this. That was good. So moving on to my review thoughts. What do I think of Wingspan Pocket? I love this. I think this is awesome. I mean, I will say I'm the perfect mark for this one because I don't love the gameplay in like Wingspan, Wormspan, Finspan. I like it a lot. I think it's a great series, but it's not something that I'll pull out very often because even though it's not a long game, it still takes a little bit longer and it's not a game that like gives me extreme joy. Tableau builders are kind of hit or miss for me, but I like looking at pretty birds and I like putting together combos. So making it a more bite-sized, quicker experience, I think is awesome. I'm on record in previous videos as saying that I like Wormspan better if I want a heavier game and Finspan better if I want a lighter game, and Wingspan's kind of in this nebulous middle area where I don't think I'll play it much, but Wingspan Pocket is even lighter, faster, smaller, quicker to set up, quicker to explain than Finspan, so it's now my preferred span game for a budget play, I guess. And I really, really love the mix of food and birds on the back of cards. I think it's really interesting. I certainly like this a lot more than the food dice in the original game. I mean, there's still the randomness of food coming out or not, but it feels a lot more controlled, and it feels like you have a much bigger picture of what's available and what isn't. There's a little bit of hate drafting in grabbing cards that works both for when you're playing against the bot or against other players. The power variety is much less, but you're just setting up a single row of powers, and that row goes off every time instead of you picking different rows or columns like in the other span games. So I like that. I like that I'm not having to kind of pick and choose which power combo I want to fire off. I get to do everything every time. The goals work great. There's a ton of variety. Yes, they're always about eggs, so it does mean that eggs always have a big importance, but I still kind of like that. And the automa works great. You saw that it's very easy to modify the difficulty to be easier or harder. You can mess with it, and it can mess with you in that you're both going to grab the birds that best fit the goals. But it's also cycling through the food and cycling through the birds so that your options change turn to turn. Honestly, they change more than in like a 2-player multiplayer game because the other player might not grab cards every turn. But I think this automa is great. I think the game is a ton of fun. I've just been busting it out to play every once in a while, which is not something I would say about most of the span games because it is so easy and quick. Now, I will say one note. It is a pocket game, but it still takes up a decent amount of space because you see for each player, you need to have enough room for, 7 cards to stretch around. But that's a super minor complaint. I'm very charmed by this. I think Wingspan Pocket is great. And if you're not a fan of Wingspan, this might be your best jumping in point. If you are a fan, I don't know if this is going to offer a ton new for you, but it is a different take and a quicker take on the same system. And it's a really good time, so check it out. Thanks for watching, everybody, and a special thank you to our biggest Patreon supporters, Dan, J. William F., Steve Wren, Casey W., Andrew R., and Chris C. We'll see you at the next stop.